Look in the mirror right now. Not at your face, at your midsection. If you see a hard, protruding belly that feels almost solid to the touch, what you are looking at is not laziness, it is not weakness, it is not even fat in the way most people understand it. What you are looking at is a living, breathing, metabolically active organ that is working against you around the clock. Visceral fat is not the soft, pinchable fat on your arms or thighs. It is a completely different biological entity. It wraps itself around your liver, your pancreas, and your intestines like a slow-moving strangler, hijacking your blood supply and flooding your body with inflammatory signals 24 hours a day. And here is the part that no one tells you. You cannot starve it away. Every time you slash your calories and white-knuckle your way through hunger, your brain reads that restriction as a survival threat. A threatened body does not release its emergency reserves. It tightens its grip on the midsection even harder, because visceral fat is your body's ultimate insurance policy against famine. The approach you have been sold is biologically backwards. The fastest way to shrink visceral fat is not to eat less. It is to eat more of the specific compounds that flip the chemical switches in your body from fat storage to fat oxidation. There are 5 foods that function as medicinal tools inside the human body. They do not just deliver calories, they deliver molecular code. They contain specific compounds that lower cortisol, unclog the liver, sensitize your cells to insulin, and directly signal your fat cells to self-destruct. Today, we are building the Visceral Fat Elimination Protocol from the ground up. We are going to decode the science of adiponectin, the hormone that tells fat cells to release their stored energy. We are going to look at the specific fiber that physically blocks glucose from flooding your bloodstream. And we are going to reveal the mineral deficiency that keeps your entire nervous system locked in a state of low-grade emergency, silently preventing both deep sleep and fat loss every single night. Stay with me, because food number 5 activates the same fat-burning signal your body uses during a 16-hour fast, without you skipping a single meal. This is not dieting, this is bioengineering. Before your body can burn a single gram of visceral fat, it has to stop being on fire. Visceral fat is inflamed fat. It continuously releases inflammatory chemicals called cytokines, particularly interleukin-6, that spread through your bloodstream and make your cells resistant to insulin. As long as your cells are insulin resistant, your fat cells are chemically locked shut. The fuel cannot leave. It can only accumulate. To break this lock, you need to flood your body with omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA. The food is fatty fish, salmon, mackerel, anchovies. But you are not eating this just for protein. You are eating it to raise a hormone called adiponectin. Adiponectin is the hormone that lean people have in abundance. In people with low visceral fat, adiponectin levels are high. In people carrying hard belly fat, adiponectin is critically, dangerously low. Research consistently shows that increasing your intake of EPA and DHA directly stimulates the production of adiponectin. When adiponectin rises, it travels to your muscles and your liver and delivers one instruction: burn fatty acids for fuel, not glucose. But here is the catch most people miss. You cannot just swallow a fish oil capsule alongside a diet full of inflammatory seed oils and expect the equation to balance. You need the whole food, the complete matrix of proteins, phospholipids, and anti-inflammatory compounds that only exist inside the actual fish. The protocol is simple: 1 serving of fatty fish 3 to 4 times per week at minimum, daily if you are serious. This physically alters the composition of your cell membranes, making them fluid, flexible, and deeply receptive to insulin signaling. But even with inflammation lowered, you cannot burn visceral fat if the organ responsible for processing it is blocked. Every gram of visceral fat that your body mobilizes has to pass through the liver to be burned. The liver is the incinerator, but if your liver is congested with its own accumulated fat, a condition called hepatic steatosis, the incinerator is clogged, the exit door is sealed. Fat has nowhere to go but back into storage. To unclog the liver, you need a sulfur-based compound called sulforaphane. The food is cruciferous vegetables, specifically broccoli sprouts, arugula, and kale. Sulforaphane activates something called the NRF2 pathway. Think of NRF2 as the master power switch for your liver's entire antioxidant and detoxification system. When you eat these bitter, sulfur-rich greens, you flip that switch on. The liver ramps up its phase 2 detoxification enzymes. These enzymes strip accumulated toxins and excess fat from liver cells and package them for elimination. But cruciferous vegetables do something else that almost no one talks about. They contain a compound called DIM, diindolylmethane, which helps the liver metabolize and clear excess estrogen. This matters enormously for belly fat. Bad estrogen metabolites directly signal the body to deposit fat in the midsection and hips. By eating these vegetables and supporting proper estrogen clearance, you shut off one of the most overlooked hormonal drivers of visceral fat accumulation. But here's the hard truth. You can clean the liver and cool the inflammation, and your body will still rebuild those fat stores if your stress chemistry is screaming danger every waking hour. Cortisol is the architect of the hard belly. When your brain perceives danger, real or imagined, it floods your bloodstream with cortisol. Cortisol pulls sugar out of your muscle tissue and dumps it into the blood. Insulin rushes in to clear that sugar, and insulin stores excess glucose in one place above all others, the abdomen. This cycle runs silently, invisibly, in millions of people who wonder why no amount of exercise is changing their midsection. To break this cycle, you need the mineral that acts as the biological off-switch for your adrenal glands. That mineral is magnesium, and the food that delivers it most powerfully is pumpkin seeds. A quarter cup of pumpkin seeds provides one of the most concentrated doses of bioavailable magnesium found in any whole food on Earth. Magnesium works by binding to GABA receptors in the brain. GABA is your nervous system's primary calming neurotransmitter. It is the chemical signal that tells your brain to stand down. Without enough magnesium, your brain never fully receives that signal. It stays in a state of chronic low-level alertness, keeping cortisol gently trickling into your system through the night and the day. This prevents deep sleep, prevents recovery, and prevents fat loss. A handful of pumpkin seeds in the evening is not a snack. It is a pharmacological intervention. Now here's a question for you. When you are stressed or exhausted, what does your body crave? Salt, like chips or crackers, or sugar, like chocolate or candy? Drop it in the comments right now. Team salty or team sweet? Team salty typically signals adrenal fatigue and mineral depletion. Team sweet typically signals blood sugar dysregulation and insulin sensitivity issues. Both are valid data points. Both tell you something important about the state of your internal chemistry. If you are team salty, pumpkin seeds are your medicine. But even with cortisol under control, there is still one more physiological problem standing between you and fat loss. Every time your blood sugar spikes, insulin spikes with it. And every time insulin spikes, fat burning stops completely. Insulin is a storage hormone. Its job is to shuttle glucose into cells and lock fatty acids away. As long as insulin is elevated, your fat cells are under lockdown. The metabolic goal is to keep your glucose curve flat, slow, and stable throughout the entire day. The tool for this is viscous soluble fiber. The food is chia seeds or ground flax seeds. When chia or flax mixes with liquid in your stomach, it expands and forms a thick, dense gel. This gel coats the lining of the small intestine like a physical barrier. When carbohydrates arrive alongside this gel, glucose cannot rush into your bloodstream. It has to move through the gel slowly, molecule by molecule. Your blood sugar curve flattens, your insulin response drops, your fat cells stay open. But the deeper magic happens further down the digestive tract. When this soluble fiber reaches your colon, your gut bacteria ferment it and produce a short-chain fatty acid called butyrate. Butyrate is one of the most powerful metabolic signaling molecules in the human body. It travels to the brain and signals satiety. It travels to the liver and improves insulin sensitivity at the cellular level. It communicates directly with your mitochondria, telling them to run more efficiently and burn more fat for energy. 2 tablespoons of chia or ground flax in water or yogurt once a day. That's the entire protocol. That single habit creates a biochemical insurance policy against insulin resistance that works quietly and consistently every single day. Everything so far has been about removing obstacles, lowering inflammation, clearing the liver, calming the stress response, flattening blood sugar. Food number 5 is the accelerator. This is where fat burning actually speeds up. The food is avocado. Most people think of avocado as just a healthy fat, but biochemically it is a precision tool for fixing the potassium-sodium pump inside every cell in your body. Potassium is the mineral that controls how efficiently your cells pull glucose out of the blood. When your intracellular potassium is low, your cells struggle to absorb glucose properly. The pancreas compensates by producing more and more insulin, and high insulin means more visceral fat. Most people are severely potassium deficient. One avocado contains more potassium than a banana, with almost none of the blood sugar spike. Half an avocado per day floods your cells with potassium, directly reducing the amount of insulin your body needs to manage blood glucose. Lower insulin means open fat cells. Open fat cells mean active fat burning. But avocado has a second mechanism that is even more powerful. It is rich in a fatty acid called oleic acid. Oleic acid triggers the release of a hormone in your small intestine called OEA, oleoliphanelamide. OEA sends a direct hardwired signal to your brain with 2 instructions: stop eating and increase fat oxidation. This is the exact same fat-burning signal your body generates during a 16-hour fast. Eating half an avocado activates it without any fasting required. You are mechanically telling your brain you are full, while simultaneously fixing the cellular pump that controls control and sensitivity. You do not need to eat these 5 foods separately throughout the day. Stack them together and the effect multiplies. Picture this meal: a fillet of salmon on a bed of arugula and broccoli sprouts, sprinkled with pumpkin seeds, dressed with chia seeds mixed into a simple vinaigrette, and half an avocado on the side. That's not a salad. That's a biochemical intervention. Every single bite of that plate is sending a simultaneous signal of safety, efficiency, and metabolic abundance to your body. You are lowering inflammation, you are opening the liver's detox pathways, you are dampening the adrenal stress response, you are creating a physical barrier against glucose spikes, you are restoring potassium and activating fat oxidation at the hormonal level, all in one meal. Visceral fat is not a character flaw. It is not a failure of willpower. It is a symptom, a precise biological symptom of a body that is inflamed, overloaded, stressed, and chemically imbalanced. You cannot out-discipline this biology. You cannot starve your way past a nervous system locked in survival mode. You have to change the chemistry. Fatty fish to raise adiponectin and open the fat cells. Cruciferous vegetables to flush the liver and clear inflammatory hormones. Pumpkin seeds to restore magnesium and silence the cortisol alarm. Chia and flax to sponge up glucose and build insulin sensitivity from the gut outward. Avocado to restore potassium and activate the same fat-burning signal as a 16-hour fast. Stop trying to subtract food from your life. Start adding the right biological signals. Your body is not broken. It is responding perfectly to the inputs it has been given. Change the inputs, and the fat has no choice but to leave. Stop starving. Start signaling.